Hello, good evening, and welcome to the New Year Day edition of Iron Port here on Metropolitan Television. Iron Port is proudly brought to you by the Ghana Revenue Authority, Goyle Company Limited, Serene Insurance, Ghana Link Network Services, and Meridian Port Services (MPS). The show is proudly powered by the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority (GPHA). Our media partner is the Business and Financial Times, the BNFT. And so if you want to have a grasp of all that transpired on the show tonight, make a date and grab the Thursday edition of the BNFT, and you'll be able to see all that happened here on the show tonight. Indeed, we are going to be streaming live on our social media pages. On Facebook, we are streaming live at Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. And still on Facebook, we are streaming live at Port of Tema. And on YouTube, we are streaming live at Eye on Port. Indeed, we shall be getting interactive with you. And so all you have to do is to get your phones and get ready and send us your messages and comments via our dedicated WhatsApp line, which is 0559-019-177. 0559-019-177. At the appropriate time, we shall be sharing them with the rest of the world. And when I pick signals from my production team, we shall activate the phone lines for you to call in and contribute to the discussion. My name is Kennedy Mona. We are going for a quick break. When we bounce back, we will continue with the show. Please do stay with us.
Every now and again, Goyle makes good things happen. This time, Goyle has introduced Super XP Ron 95, a higher grade fuel loaded with additives and yet sold at the same price as normal fuel. Goyle Super XP Ron 95 enhances engine performance like never before. It maintains the engine by keeping it clean from carbon deposits. Goyle Super XP Ron 95 is designed to burn slowly and thus improves fuel economy, making you save money after several kilometers. Goyle Super XP Ron 95 gives you a smooth driving experience, that is, less vibrations. Fill up with Goyle Super XP Ron 95. Now there's no need to pay more for any higher grade fuel. Goyle has that sorted. Goyle, good energy.
Electricity, then pay your taxes. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, streetlights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Talga, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is. You still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
Impressive factory. If only I had listened to you, I wouldn't have been in this mess. That devastating fire virtually wiped out the whole factory and my warehouse.
Remember my misfortunes last year? Serene Insurance Asset All Risk Fire policy that I took were there to pay for my damaged stocks in the warehouse, and my machines that were affected by the floods have been replaced. My accident vehicle is back on the road thanks to Serene Insurance motor policy. Currently, my goods are on the high seas, covered with their marine cargo insurance policy. I was just telling Ajima about Serene Insurance.
Oh, Ajima,
tell him more.
As a road contractor, I make sure I do my contractors all risk insurance for the projects and then workers' compensation for all the workers on site. With Serene Insurance, they will make sure they will cover your unknown tomorrow today.
Serene Insurance, a new face of insurance. Call us now.
MPS Terminal 3 is Africa's new state-of-the-art container terminal at Tema Port. For manufacturers, agro-processors and traders, the new port means business can be done faster. This infrastructure boost will improve Ghana's port handling capacity, connect more trading routes, and oil the engine of growth for the economy, creating greater opportunities across all sectors as Africa's markets merge and become the largest trading bloc globally. MPS, we connect, you thrive.
All right, so you're welcome back. It's now time for us to take a look at happenings in the port and shipping industry in the course of the week. And in the course of the week, Meridian Port Services, MPS, had cause to introduce some socio-environmental sustainability initiatives. The story will tell you much about it, plus the fact that the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority also in the course of the week held a Thanksgiving service to wrap up the year. And then the Ghana Revenue Authority also in the course of the year, or just recently, just last week, issued a statement on benchmark values and the total reversal of this. And so let's take a look at these stories and more.
Meridian Port Services Limited, MPS, operators of the world-class Terminal 3 at the Port of Tema, has continued to demonstrate its interest in the social, environmental sustainability of the community in which it operates. The terminal operator has over the years built and operated a modern port facility that allows Ghana to be a transshipment hub in the global shipping industry, with its trickle-down effect on the local economy. MPS intends to use this success to help bolster the economic fortunes of the community it operates in while maintaining social and environmental sustainability. The company has recently donated 2,000 bundles of fishing nets, 35 Yamaha outboard motors of 40 horsepower, and 2 canoes with accessories. These were handed over to representatives of the fishing communities of Tema, Nungwa, Ningo, Pram, and Pung last Thursday to boost fishing activities.
Social economics, works in more than one dimension. So we are just tackling a couple of main dimensions. First is the sustainability of the fishing industry. We have provided 20,000 fishing nets and also outboard engines, canoes, to the tune of 6 million Ghana cedi. This goes directly into the fishing community to sustain them and make them more competitive, are able, etc., etc.
MPS has also begun preparations to launch the Alternative Livelihood Project to help cater for the future generation within these communities.
But what is important is their children, the job creation for the children and the generation to come, because the children will not all go to follow their fathers. 1 or 2 will, but the rest, what about them? So the livelihood, and the development of others, we have to create venues and opportunities. And the port in itself, Meridian Port Services or Ghana Ports and Harbour, Tema Port in itself is an economic infrastructure. But certainly we want to create the infrastructure, the connectivity for other businesses also, to employ other people, that is the indirect effect, which is really crucial. And
the Chief Executive Officer of Meridian Port Services, Mohammed Samara, also touched on the MPS sea turtle hatchery intended to rescue endangered species and promote biodiversity.
The turtles serve a role in nature. First, you have the type which are acting like a grass mower. They eat all the grass, which creates a new grass, which creates also new habitat for fish to thrive on. The others, they eat the jellyfish, and actually we are in the jellyfish season at the moment. And the jellyfish eats the young fish, so basically it's competing with man for the fisheries. But the leatherback turtle keeps that on check, so basically reduces their quantity.
Staff and management of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority have ended a year with a Thanksgiving service to celebrate the goodness of God in the challenging year of 2022. The colorful event, characterized by praise and worship activities, also was an opportunity for the authority to pray for guidance and favor in the next year of business. The Director General of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, while recounting the successes and challenges of the year, thanked the staff of the authority for their support in key sustainable reforms in the authority.
We have been able to embark on one of the most significant and also painful reforms in GPHA's history, which is to think about Ghana, think about Ghanaians, think about the future, think about the welfare of every single Ghanaian, and then all of us joined hands and sacrificed overtime to use that to employ many more Ghanaians who joined us as contract staff. That is a significant sacrifice that God Himself will bless us for. and we continue to bless us.
The GPHA boss also revealed that the 20% share of gateway container traffic to GPHA will take effect on the first day of 2023.
But thankfully, we've made significant progress. Effectively, that whole 20% project is starting from the 1st of January 2023. And trust me, that journey certainly wouldn't have been possible without you, the employees of GPHA.
Michael Ugoje also touched on developmental projects expected to bring a boost to Ghana's fortunes in the shipping industry.
Our dry bulk jetty is fully equipped with modern container systems. That was commissioned by the President. And that project, which was also meant actually to be a concession to private sector, did not work out as expected. The GPHA workers challenged themselves and said, we should be able to do it ourselves. We took up the challenge. Government agreed that we should invest in that modern facility, which we did. And so far, GPHA workers are 100% manning that facility. Test run was successful. And that has encouraged us. When we had the opportunity during the commissioning to speak with Mr. President, we told him that the oil and gas services terminal, whose construction has also started, we want it to also be fully completed and 100% operated by GPHA staff.
The Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority has announced that it will cease the application of discounts on FOB values for general goods and the home delivery value on vehicles from January 1, 2023. This means importers will not enjoy any more 10% discount on vehicles and 30% discount on all other goods from next year. According to the GRA, the move is in line with the 2023 budget and economic policy via which the government intends using to accrue more revenue for the state. In a memorandum dated December 22, 2022, to all sector commanders under the Customs Division, the GRA urged the commanders to ensure that the directive is enforced. The directive also revealed that there will be transitional arrangements that provides a storage-free period for consignments discharged on December 31, 2022. This means they will not be affected by the new directive. In addition, all pre-arrival declarations processed and taxes paid even when the goods have not arrived before January 1, 2023 will not be affected by the reversal policy.
All right, so those were happenings in the port and shipping industry in the course of the week. It's now time for us to take the word of the day or the phrase of the day. And the phrase of the day is bulk cargo. Bulk cargo. It's my right. Where's my right? It's not on my right.
Bulk cargo is commodity cargo that is transported and packed in large quantities. These cargoes are usually dropped or poured as liquid or solid into a bulk carrier's hold. Examples of bulk cargo are grain, seed, coal, and iron ore.
We're now zooming into our discussion proper tonight. Welcome back. Tonight we're taking a look at the statement issued by the Ghana Revenue Authority with respect to the complete reversal of the discount on import values of general goods and home delivery value, that's HDV, of vehicles. We will tell you all you need to know about it. Remember, this was captured in the Government Economic Policy 2022 when the Finance Minister read the budget in Parliament. And so Customs has deemed it necessary to implement this now. And so there's a lot of, some hula baloo from the, importing community. People are thinking that this is going to hike, duties in the port and all that. We just want to find out from you, from officials of the Customs Division, what exactly this is meant to achieve and whether indeed in the past, since its implementation, it has actually helped in any way. So tonight we have in the studios Mr. Justice Yajayim, who is the supervisor at the Vehicle Valuation Unit, the Customs Technical Services Bureau, CTBS, CTSB, yes, at the Customs headquarters. He's here with us in the studios. He's no stranger to this place, and it's a wonderful way to begin the year with him particularly. We are grateful to have you, sir. And you've sacrificed your, New Year to be with us in the studios. We are grateful.
Duty call.
Absolutely, yes. And we also have in the studios Mr. Yao Che. Mr. Yao Che is the president of the Association of Customs House Agents Ghana, ACHAG. He's also no stranger to this show. He's also here. He's also been here. The whole of last year, he was here several times, and this is the beginning of the year, the first show for 2023, and we're glad to have him. We're grateful, sir, for also abandoning your new year and then, being in the studio to discuss this all-important topic. So I will begin with you, Mr. Yao Che, and find out from you what 2022 has been like for the freight forwarder fraternity.
Thank you very much. 2022 has not been a very good year as compared to the previous years. And there are a lot of factors that contributed to this. We would talk about the downtrend of importation of containers through all the various ports.
Right.
And the very important problem could be the dollar, the appreciation of the dollar and the depreciation of the Ghana cedi. Yeah, this has really cut down on the number of imports. And of course, if it goes down the number of imports, it also affects our operations at the ports. We can conservatively say that about 40% reduction has been realized, and this has also affected our offices.
Okay.
You would even realize that in some of these freight forwarding companies, about half of their staff have been laid off. Some have also asked some of them to go on leave, and some others have also ended their contracts. Some also have not been able to even pay their salaries for the past 2-3 months. Yes, that's how serious the problem is. It has really cut down a lot of things at the port. So 2022 was not a very good year for us. And it started just at the beginning of the year, but heightened at the latter stage of this year, which doesn't seem too good for the
of last year, this is the new year.
Yes, of last year, yes. And this has also reflected in the market. You realize that, yes, the goods are also quite not available in the market. Our price of goods have also gone up because of the cut down supply of goods through the ports.
Right.
So 2022 wasn't a too good year for us. But we are still hopeful 2023 will be better.
In the last days of 2022, the city seemed to have regained some strength and, kind of like bouncing back heavily. And, we have customs and GPHA quoting, the Bank of Ghana rates of $1 to 8 cedis and also. Hasn't that improved your operations in any way?
Yeah, it hasn't improved our operations anyway because most of the importers will tell you that, yes, we have done our imports already. It takes about 2-3 months before these importations come. So they say that they imported these consignments at the rate of 13-15 cedis to $1. Now we have these 8 cedis or 10 cedis to $1 quite recently.
Yes.
But at the ports, payment of duties have really drastically reduced. It went to about 12.5. Now it's about 8 cedis thereabout, which is also good news. But we are hoping that the effect will be realized in 2-3 months' time on the basis that we're able to maintain the 8 cedis to $1.
Stay at that. Yeah.
Yes, else importers will still be projecting that. What about if I reduce my consignments or if I import more? The next day, it shoots up to 12 cedis to $1. What do I do? So they need to have some confidence in the system a little. Because if there's no confidence and it shoots up the next day to 10 cedis, 11 cedis, the trend will be the same.
Right. Okay. Awesome. Let me come to Mr. Ajayim and find out from you whether you also realized a dip in vehicle importation as you sit behind the screens in your office to take a look at the values, the kind of vehicles that people present and to offer them values.
Yes. Thank you. I think based on what he has said, the observation, working on these consignments, the data shows that importation reduced drastically.
Right.
So previously, vessels will come with 2,500, 3,000, 2,800 vehicles. But subsequently, it wasn't so. So I think that it affected the level of importation. So it went down drastically, yes.
Okay, so let's zoom into the discussion topic proper for tonight, which has to do with the complete reversal of the benchmark values and all that. I just wanted to run us through, if you can give us a brief history about when it started and how come that this particular decision has been arrived at.
Okay, thank you. So with this benchmark issue, I think we're having a database of values collected from real-time transactions, importations that came in. So these values were collected. And usually, because we are a member of WCO, the best practice is that we are supposed to keep a database. And this database is supposed to use as a test database. That's all the values in are considered as test values.
Right.
So we are supposed to use them to test against transactions that are reported in our system for valuation.
Okay.
So this was what it was until from 2017 when the trading public, the importers, Abozokan, Guta, they all thought that the duties were high. So there should be a way that the government will assist them to do their work, the importers. So discussions began, and then in 2019, the Vice President announced on the 3rd of April that this was the decision reached. It was based on various discussions which were made with economic management team, and so it was arrived. So he announced. So we began the implementation of it. And it was that we had to, the agents, the importers complained that we're using those test values for valuation. And this had a reason. The reason was that anytime it was tested, we realized that the invoices, the deviations were not reasonable.
Right.
So we needed to adjust it in a way. So it was agreed that, okay, if we apply those values, then we're supposed to discount them for them. At least, because if you are not using the person's value and then you are basically adjusting it, sometimes you need to be reasonable because in each industry, they have their own practices. For instance, there are some of the industries that they buy them off-shelf. So you can't say that the off-shelf items will have the same price as things which have just been produced.
Absolutely.
So sometimes with these presentations that they made at various fora, at least it was agreed that they should get some discount on the values that were applied. So, and including even invoices. Those who brought invoices at the beginning, they were getting it. They were getting discounts. So it was agreed that goods should have a 50% discount. And a vehicle should have 30%. And for vehicles, apart from the 30%, they were still getting the various depreciation rates if the vehicle came in used. So this ran for 2019 up to 2020. And then 2021, a discussion began again to take it off, to reverse it, just as it happened now. So based on various
what were the reasons that culminated in the discussions?
I think,
and the calling of the call for the
came
reversal?
from complaints from the people who went to the markets to buy. I think some of the media houses ran some interviews, some other places, and Ghanaians were complaining that even though government announced this discounts, it didn't reflect in the actual prices on the market.
Okay.
See, and usually what happens is that before a budget is read, GRA, we have some in-house discussion as to how to also raise revenue.
Right.
Because we assess the policy as against what we want to do next. So I think it was also one of the factors we considered to also raise revenue. After GRA's revenue, we are looking
Absolutely, because that's your mandate.
These presentations were made to the government, and then they also had their own side of it. The government also had their own side. So it was decided that for the 2022 budget, it was going to be reversed.
Right.
Then when we entered 2022, agitation started, and then we had discussions with them, Guta, Youth Clothing Association, various associations. We had this Korean car dealers, all those groups, yes. So there was a meeting at Alisa.
Right.
Finally, it was arrived at that the government was not going to take it off completely, but to take a gradualist approach.
Okay.
So it was decided that for goods being 50%, it should reduce to 30%.
Right.
And then vehicles to 10% from 30%. So this took effect on the 1st of March 2022. So it ran from 1st of March 2022, and then a discussion began again. So various consultations usually go on before some of these things are done. So they began because it was reduced, it was affecting, and they heard that it was going to be taken off. But government also has some commitment, especially those who are assembling vehicles.
Yes.
There's a commitment to them that some of these things should be done so that at least the market to be fair.
Right.
Yes. So based on various discussions, it was agreed that it should be taken off completely in this year's budget.
Yeah.
So on the 24th of November, the minister announced it, and then preparations have been underway to get it reversed. So that is the situation.
Okay.
Yes.
So in your own assessment, would you say that the rollout in 2019 through 2020 and 2021 helped in a way? What's your assessment, your personal assessment?
Yes, it reduced the taxes. Yes, but I think it was supposed to reflect in the markets. Since most Ghanaians complain that, but it didn't happen. So
right.
Sometimes when it doesn't go the way, and it also had the effect of smuggling. It was supposed to reduce smuggling, but we thought that when vehicles, especially vehicles, when the duty is lower, people will be protected. And a lot of people reported vehicles they brought in illegally to try to pay.
So there was improved or enhanced compliance.
Yes. So these were some of the considerations that went into it.
Okay, so let me come to Mr. Yauchi and find out from you. You work on behalf of your clients as the importers. They bring these things in, and you go and then pick them out for them. And so you perhaps or automatically were those that were directly benefiting from the discounts when it was in place. Tell us what you make of this particular announcement by government of the complete reversal of the values.
Yeah, the complete reversal to us may also defeat the very reasons why the discount was brought into place. As he rightly said, in 2019, we were made to understand that the prices of goods on the market were just too much, and the duties being paid by the importers were also quite too much. And therefore, it has also given room for people to smuggle goods into the country through the by road or through the other frontiers, apart from Tema and Takoradi. Even Tema and Takoradi, they did. Now, so the reason was that let us reduce the FOB values by 30%, 50%, so that it will encourage importers to come through Tema, Takoradi, or the approved routes.
Yes.
So that was one of the major points. The other point was that because the duties were just too high, goods on the market were equally very high. And therefore, let us reduce the FOB values so that importers or the wholesalers or the retailers will be able to sell their goods at reasonable prices.
Right.
And the other issue was about fake invoices and invoices. Now, why do I go in for fake invoices if the values are quite reasonable or quite low? So let us not stretch it too much. The benchmark values is somewhere in $20 per piece. Now, okay, even if you bring $20 per piece, so even if it is $20 per piece, let us reduce it by 30% or by 50%, 20 to 10. That's quite reasonable, so that there will be no, and you will not be encouraged even to go in for fake invoices or try to reduce your invoices or try to cut corners and all that. So these were some of the reasons that the government gave, and at the end of the day, we expect facilitation of trade if things have been made reasonable for the importers. The issue is that, as you rightly again said, on the market, where the reduction reflecting on the price of goods, the popular answer was about no. And therefore, people also felt that the monies were going into the pockets of the importers or the wholesalers or the retailers. And therefore, there was no need for the government even to have taken the 50% off the FOB values.
Yes.
If there was no need, then therefore, why is the government doing that? Because the government is losing so much in terms of income. So if that is not reflected on the market, and has it also reduced smuggling? To some extent, yes, it also encourages people to come through Tema or to come to the approved routes. Yes. Smuggling, I can say that it really encourages people also not to also try to cut corners and all that. But then the ultimate is on the market, where the price of goods reduced. Now, the importers again also give reasons that aside the duty that they were paying, the depreciation of the cedi and some other factors were also contributing to the high price of goods on the market. And therefore, not only the duties, but then other factors also contributed. So the 50% had been swallowed, as it were. And therefore, we came back to square one. So that has been the history of this benchmark discount values.
So I just want to find out from you whether you think that with a complete reversal, the tendency for people to begin to cut corners again is high.
Yes. You see, with a complete reversal, there are some goods that even if you increase by 20%, 30%, the demand will still be. You have the elastic demand and the inelastic demand. The demand will still be there. There are some goods, so even if you increase by 1% again, you will not have patronage. And again, to some of these importers or wholesalers are also absorbing the 30% is part of their profit. Now it means that a reduction in the profit levels of these importers. Now are they prepared to swallow that part as part of their profit, or they will have to increase the cost of goods on the market?
Right.
That's another issue we have to look
But
at.
I thought he explained that this particular directive does not affect the goods that they have. There's a certain deadline for goods that have been imported already.
Yes. So what happens is that they make provision for if you pre-entered Section 50 of 891 Customs Act 891 2050. Yes, it allows for pre-entry. So if you were able to pay the duty before we entered today, yes, you are not affected, even though the vessel hasn't arrived. If you were able to capture, if it's in the port and you are able to put it in the system and then validated, you were able to pay before we entered today. Even though you have not cleared it in the port, it's not affected. So these are normal customs laws that we are applying. The only difference is the first one, the transitional provision, the very first one, which says arriving conveyance when it is discharged on 31st. The intention was that, usually it will not be somebody's fault if he discharges, a vessel arrives and discharges on Sunday, which we don't work. So it was just meant to be fair, to allow the people so they arrived before it took effect. So in any case, we should allow them to process it without the effect of the reversal. So that was the intention with that. So those vessels which arrived yesterday, and then they discharged, but for no fault of theirs, couldn't go through the customs procedure to clear, even though some of them may be willing to do it. Yes.
Okay, so I know your operations generally, or majority of your operations, more of your operations are guided by the World Customs Organization's rules and regulations. And so I want to find out from you what the position of the World Customs Organization is on benchmark values.
Okay, this benchmark value team is WCO, we are a member country. As a result, we have ratified the agreement on the customs valuation. They also come up with best practices, which all customs administrations which are members, even those which are not members, they apply because they are good and they help for, they make commercial sense. They allow for businesses to thrive. So this benchmark was developed at a point to allow for every member nation of WCO to develop a database. The basic intention behind it is when you are going to deal with a transaction, you should have an idea of the transaction. You shouldn't work in a vacuum. So customs is allowed to keep real-time transactions which were processed, imports which came in, to keep database of those values which were accepted as reasonable, genuine invoices which were presented. So this is a database created to be able to use those values as test values, just as I said. Such that when any transaction is declared, an importer comes in through his agent, they declare to customs, they have this consignment. We should be able to compare, if we doubt, to be sure that the deviation is not from any bad intention from the importer or his agent. So that is why the database is kept. But the database is not supposed to be used for valuation, for value substitution, no. So that was a practice until this benchmark value thing came in, where we had to apply the values across years. So basically that's what WCO says.
Okay. So, Mr. Yauchi, let me come to you and find out from you whether this information has been passed across to your clients since the announcement was made. Have you made contact with your clients and told them that this is what's happening, and so perhaps you would have to be paying more than usual?
Yes, we have also.
And how are they taking it?
Well, we've sent the messages through the various platforms that we have. We've called them individually and informed them. We've sent notices to them. And I think in the papers too, we've also seen glimpses of it in the papers on various portals. How are they taking it? They are not taking it lightly. They are not happy with it. And we realized that all of a sudden on Thursday and Friday, everybody was trying to pay off the duties. Some vessels that were even expected by the end of...
To escape
yesterday. Okay. So it tells you how much they cherish the 30% 30% discount. Yes. Some of them, the vessels were even arriving in late January this month, but then they've all paid their duties off. So it tells you how much they cherish. Now, the complaint that they are making is that it will also disturb them on the market. Now, they've made provision for selling goods with the 30% in mind, but then all of a sudden they've been asked that we are removing the 30% discount, and therefore you need to also sit down and revise the prices. Coupled with the fact that the uncertainties are surrounding the depreciation of the city. Now I understand it's also started going up again. And the high cost of doing business at the port, shipping line charges and all that. And the general economic trend that we find ourselves in this country. So the potential is that it may affect prices of goods on the market, and the importers are not too happy with that. They thought that with the dollar, the CD gaining strength, that would be a good time for them also to come down their prices. But all of a sudden, the 30% has also been removed, and that could be a problem for...
So is it a matter of going back to square one?
Yes and no. Going back to square one, some of that...
Because one would have thought that with the city gaining some strength, I mean, things would have ameliorated a bit.
Yeah, if the city
for the
gains,
importing community.
Well, they'll be able to absorb it. If the city gains some strength, I'm sure they'll be able to absorb it and hope that it doesn't go up too much. But then, if it doesn't, it means they have to also compete, start increasing their prices as much as 30%. And that's another issue we need to also look at. But these benchmark values, as Justice said, initially we thought it would have been selected items. But then we realized that even 30% ammunitions that were even brought into the country were enjoying 30%, hair products 30%, cigarettes, tobacco 30%. Some other, almost every item was benefiting. But initially, we thought that it was on some selected items alone. We could have also targeted some items in this country. We want to encourage importation of soap. We want to encourage importation of ABCD because we may not have those industries in this country. And therefore, we thought that it should have been on a few or more or some selected items so that we could also compromise and help the AGI also to help with their local industries and all that. But then, unfortunately, it was spread all the items. Toothpick, cotton buds, everything. Everything was enjoying 50%, 30% discount. But we thought that it was misdirected.
Even items that we have a competitive advantage over.
Yes. Why should we have to be given 30% or 50% discount? And the customs rate is such that we have 5% 20% and 35%. So if a product is attracting 35% and you again give that person 50% of the FOB, then it's defeating the very reason why the rate of duty is as much as 35%.
Right.
So we thought that we should have been on some few selected items that we could encourage importation, which would discourage importation and encourage the local industries also to strive.
Okay, to talk about what he's talking about. Okay, the first thing I want to talk about the fake invoices.
Yes.
I think that the benchmark value the policy didn't reduce the fake. They were still presenting it.
Okay.
I think it was one of the reasons why you are saying that it was applied across board, because if you look at the database itself,
right,
the benchmark value,
yes,
those items which were benchmarked were not, because we have over 6,000 items imported. We had less than 500. It was subsequently we expanded it to 500.
Right.
So it's not across board, but because the habit is that people bring in fake invoices. Sometimes you ask for, and per WTO rules, if you go through the agreement, you see that the Article 17 is telling customs how to go about if you doubt a value, a truth or accuracy of a value, or any document presented, how you go about it. So usually when they present the invoice, we don't go ahead to substitute value. No, we don't do that. The first thing we do is to ask for further documentation. Some of them don't even attach invoices. When you ask for an invoice, they will attach something. You ask for further documentation, let's say export documentation, they will not give you. So the customs officer has no choice other than to find a value for that commodity.
Yeah.
And that is why he sees it as the benchmark policy was applied across board. That wasn't the case. It is the behavior of the trading public that also created that thing for customs to do. Because if you ask for further documents, they will not give you. So they don't have. Meanwhile, the consignment was exported. So if it was exported, you have the export document. So if I ask for export, just attach in the system, and I will go through to satisfy myself whether you have actually declared the correct value or not. So that is a basic problem. Yes.
Okay, so with the reversal, do you think that they'll be forthcoming with these documents?
As a customs administration, we will do our work. We will comply with the rules and regulations. The WTO valuation agreement is there. The Article 17 tells us what we should do.
Right.
And we'll continue to do, ask for further and better particulars to be supplied so that we'll test the values to see whether they are okay or not.
Do you have a definite response or a definite answer to the question of how many items exactly were covered under the this particular policy?
No, it means that for this, it's every item. It's every item. There's no exception.
Right.
So there will be no item that will say you have to present your transaction value unless it's a used vehicle. If it's any other item,
I think he wants to. I was addressing the fact that the discount policy affected all other goods. That's where I'm coming from.
So that's the reason I'm giving that. It is because the right thing is not being done. Because if you present your invoice and it's not on the list, you had a list. I don't know whether you have ever seen it.
I'm not talking about the benchmark. I'm talking about the discount.
Yes.
The discount affects every item.
Every item.
Ammunition, blah, 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 and all that.
Yes.
And we are saying that it should have been on some selected item that we wanted to encourage importation of these items.
Yes.
And help the local industries.
Yes. But that was a government policy.
Yes, that's a policy.
AGI had 48 items.
Yeah, it was government policy, but we are saying that was a bad policy. It wasn't a good policy. And yes, now that it reversed, it has affected everybody and all other items too.
Yes.
Yes. It was a good policy.
So I understand you.
Yeah.
Okay. So he mentioned the issue of fake invoices. I just want to find out from you as a practitioner. These things are perpetrated by some of your, not everybody, I mean, some of your members.
they are genuine.
Yes. How entrenched or how rife is this particular phenomenon?
Fake invoices, I must also say that I'm not denying the fact that there are fake invoices in the system. There are fake invoices in the system. But then it's about customs also valuation system which at times also encourage us also to go that way. Now, if, for example, we have a line of traders at Makola, all of them sell maybe shirts. Now, if one person, even one person, is able to present a fake invoice and is able to go through, it means that that person will be the king in that bucket.
Right.
He will be able to dictate how much prices should be sold. He will undercut the prices of a particular item, and therefore all others may not be able to sell. Practically, that's the problem. So if customs will be able to at least, which I think is quite difficult, even also to determine which one is fake or which one is genuine, that's why they brought in the benchmark value. But then, if the customs is not able even to allow one person to go through, it means that that person would try to reduce the price of the commodity and reign on that field.
Right.
And therefore, all others can't sell their goods unless he has finished selling his goods. And I can tell you, he wouldn't even finish selling the goods. He will import more, and every time he's always on the market, he's able to, even if he reduces by 1 cedi, 2 cedis, he's able to reign on the market. So the fake invoices, yes, it's a genuine concern that we have all been thinking through. Customs has been making so much noise about it, yes, and we need also to comply. But then there are also definitely bad ones amongst us and even importers, and quite difficult even to know what which ones are the fake invoices and which ones are the genuine ones. Because this time of technology, they can easily print anything that you would. It's very difficult even to dictate that it's a fake invoice. And apart from that too, on the market, at times too, people also buy goods in some quantities, and therefore they have their reduced prices. So if Kwame buys about 200 containers a year, and the supply is able to reduce it by maybe $35 per carton, Adua also goes in and buys only 2 containers for the whole year. The point is that if it's benchmark value, it means that all of them will have to sell, will have to pay duties at the same value. And it means again that the two of them will present different invoices. And another issue will come up, one of them is fake. But genuinely, it may not even be fake. That was those actual invoices that were issued to them by their suppliers. This is not to say that some of them, nobody presents fake invoices. No, some others do. But then there are a variety of reasons why some people bring values which are quite lower than even the benchmark value. But then because it has been benchmarked, you can't even go below those values. There are others who also genuinely, whether you give them even $2, they will still like to go down and be the kings of the market. So they will try as much as possible also to go down and sell things just below what all the others are doing so that they will be able to catch up with the market. These are some of the reasons why people bring in those fake invoices.
Right.
At times even on the blind side of agents, you may not even know, but then they will bring it to you unless some of these customs officers will tell you that, yes, we suspect this fake invoice and we won't allow you to go through and all that. They can beat everybody. They beat all of us.
Wow. Okay. So let me find from Mr. Yajim, what's your level of accuracy in terms of detecting these fake invoices? Do you have the expertise?
Yes, I have a fake invoice.
Because it's like they operate in a very sophisticated manner.
Yes, I have a fake invoice. And we see, you know. We will know that this is a fake invoice.
Right.
Because that's the work we do. You understand? I cannot put it out there, maybe to give solids, but we're able to detect fake invoices. That's why sometimes we are hesitant. We just request for documentation, and the person thinks that the officer doesn't know what he's doing. But it's because I've seen that it's a fake invoice. And there are things on it which you tell me. There are so many things. You know, we have a standard invoice. How an invoice should be. We have it. And it applies across board. Everywhere you go, it applies. And for us, what we have put in place, we are strengthening our database system to be able to do more of the testing if we doubt any value. External verification, which we do within 24 hours, yes, is on board. So we'll be able to, if you doubt anything which is too difficult to be able to detect immediately, we refer for external verification, and then they will give us feedback as to, they will check from the source where the person bought it, and to allay his fears on people buying from the same place and the same source and presenting different invoices. I think in what we do, basically, we consider the commercial level. Yes, you look at somebody is a wholesaler, another person is a retailer. We look at all those things. We look at the time because some of the items are seasonal.
Yeah.
So depending on the season, the price can either be low or high. And sometimes we get this information from various sites which we monitor. Officers are there. Those are the risk management unit. They are able to go through and monitor transactions where those, for instance, if you look at those who bring in, let's say, cornrow, the sheets, aluminum, those are products, yes. They have credible sites where even people buy from here in Ghana. They sit here and they're able to buy it from there. So we're able to monitor all this. And this is the job of the risk management unit. They sit down and they're able to monitor. So when there are any doubts, it's referred to them to take their time and go through. So to not do things arbitrarily.
Yeah.
Yes.
To add to that, you see, I must also say that the importers at times also find themselves quite in some difficulties. A very casual importer may go to Dubai, may buy 20 items, all from different shops.
Yeah.
It means that he may also come down with 20 invoices. According to customs regulations, you can't use more than even as many as 20 invoices attached to one declaration. No, it may not be accepted. So at times they will be forced even also to compromise all those invoices on one sheet. And that's the temptation to describe it as a fake invoice.
Right.
Some of them may also go to China. There are some places in China, they may not give you even an invoice in English.
Right.
It may be in Chinese language.
Yeah.
And therefore, the temptation to come to present it to customs will tell, okay, go and see the Chinese embassy
So
for them to do the translations and all that. That also take the whole day, the whole year, not even the whole day. I mean, these are some of the problems at times they face, and some of them may have to, why not? Let me go and sit somewhere and let somebody get me one invoice away. This is so much, this is so much, this is so much, this is so much. They may not even the USD. There are some values when you are currencies you even apply, customs may not accept.
Right.
They may have to ask you we should be in USD, pound sterling, euro, and other popular currencies. So there are some issues. We have to also be very careful in our hurry to see some items as fake invoices and people are corrupt and all that. There are some very, very, very genuine people that at times they even want to do the right thing. Circumstances may not even allow you to do that. The example I just gave.
Yeah.
If you have an invoice in Chinese language, what do? You come and go to Chinese embassy to do the translation for you. It's not practicable. So at times you have to find a way of satisfying what customers want. And what they want is that it should be in the English language. What they want is that it should be one invoice and not a multiplicity of invoices would be tolerated.
But isn't it also incumbent upon the importer to tell the manufacturers or the suppliers that my country is an English-speaking country, and so your invoice must be in English.
Okay, if I can.
Because you are doing business. Go and buy from an English person. I'm a Chinese, and this is the invoice I'm issuing. I won't be able to issue an invoice for you in the English language. Yes. So, I mean, in any case, it may be only be buying 200 or 300 cartons, and there'll be a lot of other people are buying 500 cartons, 2,000 cartons, and you will not have the time to even tolerate you. And these are importers. Some of them are petty importers. Some of them do twice a year, 3 times a year, and all that. They are not big-time importers, and we might also tolerate them and also appreciate the way they are coming from. After all, with the 2 containers, they grow to import 500 containers in the near future. Right. So we need to tolerate them. But then, these are some of the problems at times they also face practically.
Okay. Yes, you want to add something to...
I think my senior brother is overstretching the issue. You see, if you import a container of items, it takes time to arrive. So maybe we have to look at the educational aspect of it. When a client brings you a job, you have to ask for all the documents. So when you see that they are in foreign language, you can do that before the arrival. You don't wait for the vessel to arrive or to put in the declaration to customs. Then when you are requested, you go attach an invoice in foreign language, we definitely ask you, because according to the Revenue Administrations Act, that's what you are supposed to do. So as customs, we are just supposed to implement the law. So if you bring it, I will not accept it in Chinese or whatever.
Yes.
I'll ask you to go and do the translation, because you have all this while. If it's 3 months, what did you wait for 3 months?
These vessels arrive in 2-3 weeks. 3 weeks.
Yes, but you can easily do this at the Institute of Languages, or go to the Chinese embassy or any of the embassies if they are in their language. So you can easily do that. I don't think we have to give excuses for some of this. Maybe we have to do the education more. When they bring in you a job, what you do is to ask for all documents, including invoice, the bill of lading. Some of them have contract agreements in foreign languages. You request for all those things. And then if you see that they are not things which conform to customs requirements, you quickly try to adjust before you present to customs.
You do you have anything else?
No.
Okay,
you see, practically, as I told earlier, some of the vessels even arrive within 3-4 weeks, 4 weeks time.
Yes.
And as he's just saying, at times even these invoices have to be issued to you after even departure of the vessels. And let's appreciate some of the problems our petty importers go through. We may not have such problems with those who have been in the business for so long or who are importing in large quantities. But then those who do petty trading, and it's quite a difficulty. Somebody will come, as I told you earlier on, somebody will come with about 20 pieces of invoices. All, when you go to Dubai, they write it in their own language. Yes, or India, or China. They write it in the language, and getting it, even for the importer even to tell you that this particular item means A, B, C, D, it's a difficulty. Unless he has to do that, you have to you have to write his own packing list, which will also help you to prepare an invoice. And as he's saying, if he's able to interpret it for you to prepare an invoice, they will term it as fake invoice. Yes, immediately they will term it as fake invoice. So it's not an issue we would have to just brush it off and say that everybody or most people bring in fake invoices. No, at times they also do their best also to meet some of the requirements from customs, but with some difficulties. So
is there a possibility that I can, as an importer, come with my invoice, which is in Chinese, and I approach customs officials and say, okay, this is the invoice I've been given. What do I do?
Okay, what happens is that by the requirement of the Revenue Administration Act, if you do a translation, you have to present both. The one in the foreign language and then the translated one. So then who accept it? Once it's coming from a reputable institution, we'll have both in the system. Any day, any time, if we want to do a post-clearance audit and check, we are able to compare. We'll find a way of going behind to also go and find out whether the translation you gave us is right or not. So both must be presented to customs, even though you are translated to English.
All right.
And I can tell you, Chinese embassy will not be prepared to tolerate these many importers with their translations to be done there. They will not tolerate that.
Maybe if there's some element of frequency with this kind of request to them, they would have to set up a desk at the Chinese embassy to take care of this. Because you are doing business with people, and the people think that, look, we need this in order to do our business the right way, so that we don't run into problems. And so if we are buying from your country, and we think that you give us invoices in your language, you should have somebody, a desk fellow in your office to take care of these things. So that when they come, you just go there, the fellow within 30 minutes, can sort you out with a good thing. Well,
it's part of the cost of the
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes. Part of the cost build up.
Yes. So this is Iron Port here on Metropolitan Television, and tonight we are taking a look at the complete reversal of the discount on import values on general goods and home delivery values of vehicles. We are in the studios with Mr. Justice Yajajim, who is a supervisor at the Customs Technical Services Bureau. He's with the Vehicle Valuation Unit. And then we're also in the studios with Mr. Yaoche, who is the president of the Association of Customs House Agents, ACHAG, that's Ghana. And this is the topic we are discussing. We're going for a quick break. When we bounce back, we have to activate the phone lines for you to call in and then contribute to the discussion. Please do stay with us.
Every now and again, Goil makes good things happen. This time, Goil has introduced Super XP Ron 95, a higher grade fuel loaded with additives and yet sold at the same price as normal fuel. Goil Super XP Ron 95 enhances engine performance like never before. It maintains the engine by keeping it clean from carbon deposits. Goil Super XP Ron 95 is designed to burn slowly and thus improves fuel economy, making you save money after several kilometers. Goil Super XP Ron 95 gives you a smooth driving experience, that is, less vibrations. Fill up with Goil Super XP Ron 95. Now there's no need to pay more for any higher grade fuel. Goil has that sorted. Goil, good energy.
Electricity, then pay your taxes. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Talga, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is. You still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
Impressive factory. If only I had listened to you, I wouldn't have been in this mess. That devastating fire virtually wiped out the whole factory and my warehouse.
Remember my misfortunes last year? Serene Insurance Asset All Risk Fire policy that I took were there to pay for my damaged stocks in the warehouse, and my machines that were affected by the floods have been replaced. My accident vehicle is back on the road thanks to Serene Insurance motor policy. Currently, my goods are on the IC, covered with their marine cargo insurance policy. I was just telling Ajima about Serene Insurance.
Oh, Ajima,
tell him more.
As a road contractor, I make sure I do my contractors all risk insurance for the projects and then workers' compensation for all the workers on site. With Serene Insurance, they will make sure they will cover your unknown tomorrow today.
Serene Insurance, a new face of insurance. Call us now.
MPS Terminal 3 is Africa's new state-of-the-art container terminal at Tema Port. For manufacturers, agro-processors and traders, the new port means business can be done faster. This infrastructure boost will improve Ghana's port handling capacity, connect more trading routes, and oil the engine of growth for the economy, creating greater opportunities across all sectors as Africa's markets merge and become the largest trading bloc globally. MPS, we connect, you thrive.
All right, so you're all come back. We are now going to activate the phone lines for you to call in, and the number to dial is 020-552-8353, 020-552-8353. You can call in and contribute to the discussion. Remember, this is the New Year Day edition of Iron Port here on Metropolitan Television. Let me come to Mr. Yajayim and find out from you whether you have assessed the impact of the benchmark values, when it was in operation, and whether it indeed helped in your revenue mobilization efforts.
Well, for revenue, we've always achieved our target. So the benchmark, because the idea was that when it is introduced, the taxes will drop, and then people can import more. So I think it happened until last year. The volumes went down because of the exchange rate. Yes, but we still got our target in a way.
So it actually helped.
Yes.
And so now that it's been taken off,
it will help more. But the revenue will go up.
Well, at times they get their revenue because the city has been depreciated.
Yes. Okay. So let me find out from Mr. Yauche whether you think that this is the best time for the reversal of this particular policy.
This being the best time, no, I won't say it's the best time. It's not the best time because, well, as we've been discussing, the depreciation of the city has really made things quite difficult for the importers. And doing business at the port here at this time is quite expensive.
So expensive. Leave it there. When we come back, we'll continue from there. But I understand we have a caller. Let's go on to the phone lines and welcome Clifford. Hello, good evening, sir.
Oh, good evening.
Yes, sir.
Bernard, how are you?
I'm terrific by His grace. I hope you are well too. Happy New Year.
Thank you so much, my brother.
Please shoot.
Concerning the benchmark value, right? When this was introduced, we were thinking that it was something that was going to help us as car dealers. But unfortunately, government also brought in taxes that came to replace the benchmark value that he gave to us. That is why prices of cars and vehicles in the system were not reduced. Example, Ghana health disinfection levy came on board. Network charges also came on board, and these network charges were charging on almost every tax component on the paper. We were paid VAT network charges, COVID-19 network charges, COVID recovery network charges, African Union network charges, ECOWAS network charges, and all these network charges were money. And then a 2.5% special import duty was increased. And this made things so difficult. And as for the custom officers, what they do is that the instructions and directives that have been given to them is what they work on. They cannot do anything apart from the direction that they've given to them. So these were the issues that we were facing. So when people say that when they go to the market, the prices of cars were not reduced, even though government has given these people 30% waiver and all that, the issue is they should rather make the proper checking on those papers, those things. Because if you give me something with your right hand and you take it from my back with the left hand, there's no way that I can breathe. So these were the issues that we were facing. Thank you very much.
Right. Thank you very much indeed, Clifford from Accra. I think you picked, yes, please do, yeah.
It was not as if government introduced taxes. COVID-19, we call the COVID, the government had to introduce
levy,
mobilize revenue and all this. But those other ones is mentioning, you see, they were converted to, when the government, this thing came, then they decided that for all those taxes which were already there, they were there, but they were still paying, all of them, you paid VAT on them, isn't it? Yeah. Yes, so it's still the same. That's why he's trying to say net charge. And after the network charge, even these GCNet days were paying. It's the same thing. If you take the template, the same thing about 19 taxes and levies on the list. It's the same list that came out, apart from the COVID levy that was introduced.
Right.
If you're talking about the fumigation, container, those ones are not customs issues.
That's not within your domain.
Yes.
Yeah.
So apart from COVID levy, I don't think any other. We had a AU levy, which was 0.2, which was also introduced along, but it even came before the discount policy was introduced. Yes.
Okay.
So I don't think it is.
All right. Let's go on the line. You wanted to say something, but let's go on the line and then welcome James, who's watching us. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, hello, good evening.
Yes, I hope you are doing well. Happy New Year.
Many happy returns, my brother.
Please shoot.
Okay, thanks for the education. Now, this is my question. Assuming I have an invoice in a foreign language apart from English, and I want to do translation, does it come at a cost?
Well, I think that we have not been able to ascertain yet.
Okay, what happens is that you are supposed to go to the Institute of Languages or any of the embassies which speaks that language.
Yeah.
So if they do it, it is for them to determine whether they will charge you or not. That one we will not know. Because all we look for is the invoice being translated into English for us.
But it will come at a cost.
Yes, that's what takes place there. I will not know.
Right.
It will come at a cost.
Okay. All right. So, James, I think you heard them. You go to the embassy, which language the invoice is in, and then they will try and then see if they can do the translation for you, and they will decide whether or not to charge you. Now, wouldn't it be prudent for customs to also get desk, like I recommended with the embassies, to also get personnel who speak these languages to do the translations?
Yes, I think these things have been.
Okay, so let's go on to the phone lines again. We'll come back and then we'll take a look at that. Ebenezer is on the lines. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm terrific, Eben. Thank you very much indeed. I hope you are doing well too.
I'm doing well.
Happy New Year.
Good. Very happy.
Yes, sir. Please shoot.
Okay, I was listening to your program, and when it came to translating languages, I think there was a bit of a difficulty.
When it came to?
Translating invoices in
yes,
languages.
Great, yes.
You know, I work in a private organization, and that is an international one, of course. And so people come with documents that are in different languages. And you know what we do? We ask them to go to Ministry of Languages or even the embassies, and they are able to get that information for us. That is a private international organization, and it must be done, so they're able to get it for us. So when it comes to public organization like a country, you are telling us that it's not possible. I was listening to one person, and he said, oh, that's going to be like a difficulty for the embassies to be able to do. But you see, because it's a private organization, it is ensured that they are done, and they're able to get it for us. And that is value for money. So it is possible, if we really want to do it, it is possible. Right?
All right.
Because see, this is a public organization, and so it's legal. At the end of the day, it's not going to be possible. But because this is a private organization, we ensure that it's done, and they get it for us. So is it anything that you put your eye on, you should be able to get it.
All right.
Thank you.
Eben, thank you very much indeed. Do you have any response for Eben with the submission?
I think basically that was what I said.
Yes.
That they can get it done at the Institute of Languages or any of the embassies which speak
the language. Yeah,
sure. And then they will do it. As to the cost that comes with it, we don't look at that aspect. All we need is the document being translated into English for us to be able to read and then get the information that is required from it.
All right. So I was asking the question whether it's possible for customs to liaise with the Institute of Languages and the various embassies to be able to get people, where you can set up a desk for them, perhaps at the customs headquarters or something, because perhaps this looks like an issue that happens regularly.
Yes.
Yeah, where people come in with invoices that are, written in different languages and requires specialist attention where they must be translated.
Yes.
Is it not possible that you can do that?
Okay,
Liaise with the Institute of Languages, liaise with the embassies and all that?
There has been a broader discussion on some of these things, even getting officers to various embassies, Ghanaian embassies, to be able to explain things to people when they come there. They want how to deal with customs when they arrive in Ghana. So this has been a broader discussion, and it has been taking place. So for now, there is nothing concrete on it. So to be looked at, I think it's part of the discussion that went on.
I wish I had brought some of the invoices. At times, when you go to China, when you ask them to translate their invoices into English, they do a literal translation. For example, there was one person who brought some kettle. He wrote water heating machine.
Yeah.
Water heating machine. And I'm sure when you go,
you can imagine what the machine is.
Exactly.
I mean, the size
water
of the
heating, when you send water heating machine to customs,
kettle,
I'm sure the temptation to value it very high.
It's very high, absolutely. Absolutely.
These are some of the problems at times we face.
Yes. Let's go to the phone lines and welcome Nana Opam, who is calling us all the way from Koforidua in Sukwao. Yes. Yes.
My question goes to the custom officer. I wanted to find out why customs doesn't use Bank of Ghana dollar rate to charge our duties. Instead, they use their own. I want to find out from him.
Customs doesn't have a rate. The rate we use is Bank of Ghana rate.
Right.
And that is a WTO requirement. If you go through the WTO agreement, the Article 9 says when the valuation is being done and the currency conversion, use the
central bank,
not even send, they say a reputable organization. The rate determined by a reputable organization. And for Ghana, we use the central bank, the interbank rate. So it's the rate that comes out on Tuesday, Mondays. Yes. By close of Monday, the rate we have, that is what is applied Tuesday to the following Monday. So it runs a week. So the following Tuesday, we are supposed to change it to the previous Monday's rate. So customs doesn't have its rate. So maybe what you want to see is that within those days, if there's any change in rate, we have to change the rate, but we don't do that. Okay. When we pay the rate on Monday, the Monday's rate, it has to run for 1 week, before we change it. But we don't do a daily change, no. Okay. Because it's supposed to make sure that the businessman is certain for 1 week how much he's supposed to pay. Right. He does evaluation today, Tuesday. You should know that from today up to the next Monday, the duty will not change because the rate is stable. Yeah. So that is the idea behind it.
We wish we can make it stable for 3 months.
Yeah, absolutely. That would have helped a great deal. So let's welcome Sam onto the show. Good evening, sir. Sam, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Yes. Please shoot.
Yes, my question to the custom.
Yes.
I would like to find out if an importer submitter is in possession with multiple invoices. Is there any regulation that governs that procedure as to what the importer should do with those multiple invoices? Thank you.
What does it mean by possible multiple invoices? Is it for the one item?
For one item,
for one item or different?
Is it for one item or different items?
Different items in a container.
Yes, different items
in one container.
One container,
yeah. Consolidated?
No, not necessarily consolidated.
Okay. All right. Okay. So thank you, Sam.
So if you have a multiple, yes, we've seen some where somebody has a vehicle invoice and has the invoice for items. Yes, we apply them to the valuation. You don't do that?
I think what he was trying to say is that if you have, for example, 10 invoices, you bought it from Dubai, different shops, and you have 10 invoices with 10 different invoice numbers. Yes, that's where the difficulty is. 10 invoices, 10 invoice numbers. The system will not accept it.
Right.
No.
Right.
So it means that then the temptation is for you to go and look for how to compromise it into one invoice or at least maximum 2 invoices. The system will not accept it. That's another difficulty. So immediately you go and touch it, they will tell you it's a fake invoice.
Right.
I mean, while you can't also sit down for your goods to go on the mortgage and not doing it. So that aspect of it, I think customs need to look at it. We need to have a compromise on it. So at least we also present to you what we have.
Okay. Mr. Yajim.
Yes.
There are those who think that the duties in the ports are going to go up because of this particular decision by the Customs Division or GRA to completely reverse the benchmark values. Is this something they should expect? Hike in duties at the ports?
Definitely, it will have an effect. And the effect will be that the 30% on vehicles and goods being taken off, and then the 10% on vehicles being taken off, it is definitely going to push the taxes up. So that is what they should expect, that it will have a little effect. So we just hope that the exchange rate will drop and then it will...
My brother is trying to be very diplomatic about it. He said it will have a little effect. It will have as much as 30% effect. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So after the effect,
the duties will go up.
Yes, it will definitely go up after that one.
All right. So I just also want to find out from you whether the withdrawal of the policy means that you are going to be relying on primarily on transactional value.
Yes, that is the primary method of customs valuation. If you read the agreement, they will tell you the primary basis of customs valuation is the transaction value. So it is when the transaction value is rejected.
That's what I wanted to say. They say when they bring them, you reject.
After it's gone through processes of verification and the importer is not for, because per our law now, in the 1950s when we had the BDV, the Brussels definition of value, when we had the commissioner's values, it was that the customs had the onus of proof.
Yes.
But with the new WTO system starting from 1995 January, it has shifted, the burden of proof has shifted to
on the importer.
So the importer will have to prove. That's why the Article 17 of the agreement is very important. It's supposed to allow you, we'll write to you, but here we use the icons. So in the icons, we'll put it inside and request for certain documentations.
Right.
Once you are forthcoming and you satisfy customs that it is genuine, And sometimes when we even doubt, we'll do it, work on the transaction and refer it to post-clearance audit.
Right.
So that they will take it up and do. But when it is that the doubt is said that we cannot go ahead with the transaction value, then the law allows us to look at, if you look at the section 68, the 67 is talking about the transaction value.
Okay.
The Act 891,
Right.
2015, Customs Act. If you go to the 68, it's telling you where value cannot be determined. So it means that where it cannot be determined through transaction value, we have 5 other methods to go through.
Right.
Yes, we have transaction value identifier goods, transaction value of similar goods, deductive value method, we have the computed value method, and we have fallback. And the fallback is where most of them they've been complaining because.
Okay. All right. Let's welcome Paul onto the lines. I think Paul will be our last caller so that we can wrap up. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. How are you doing?
I'm terrific, Paul. I hope you are doing well too. Happy New Year.
Thank you, and the same to you.
Please flow, bro.
Yes, my question is, comparatively, when you compare, I don't know if somebody have already asked this question, the West African countries on the coast, why is Ghana's duty the highest of all of them?
Is that really a fact, Paul?
Yes.
How?
I see.
Because I have some importers from other countries we meet in the States and we normally compare, and then all the time, Ghana's duty is always very, very high as compared to these countries.
I think it's
Why?
debatable. We'll have to,
it's debatable because the taxes are assessed in different currencies. So how was he able to compare that?
Yeah.
I mean, we compare, we exchange it into dollars and
Yes, yeah.
how much I pay and a friend to.
Anyway, these things have been said in the past, but we have said, for me, we've not done any analysis across to check whether what is paid in other countries because some of the things are like the vehicle valuation. If you come to the used vehicle, the way we do it is not done elsewhere.
Right.
Ghana has been hailed as the best by WTO level.
Yeah.
Yes, and they all know that the way we do it is fair, it's neutral. If you look at the way we go about it to do it, yes. So some of the things might vary, but as to whether one country's taxes are higher than another, that one I cannot speak to it.
Okay.
Yes.
So this one says, good evening, Mona. Prices of vehicles and cars were not reduced, though 30% benchmark was given. The reasons were that new taxes were introduced to replace the 30%. That's e.g., Ghana Health disinfection, network charges on VAT, Ghana Health Service, inspection fees, 2.5% on special import levy, COVID-19 tax. I think that was what Clifford came and mentioned. Oh, okay. Clifford Ansu, he's the General Secretary of the Vehicle and Asset Dealers Union of Ghana. Okay. He was my mate when I was doing my first degree. All right. Cliff, thank you very much for watching and for sending your comments, your message in. The complete reversal of the benchmark value will lead to increment in the price of vehicles in the market. Definitely. Okay. I think that we would have to draw the curtain here. We have run out of time. And so I'd like to say a big thank you to Mr. Yauche. Okay, I understand we have 2 minutes, so we can take 1 minute to wrap up. So if you have a word or two before we wrap up.
I think you asked me a question whether it's a good time for us for government to introduce or remove the discount at this time. Not too good a time because of the depreciation of the city, because of the introduction of the VAT 2.5%, which the budget carries.
Right.
Because of the cost of doing business at the port is also quite expensive now. Clearing a 40-footer container, shipping line charges are low. You pay about 12 to 14,000 Ghana cedis. Either it was about 7,000, 6,000 cedis. Just recently, it's gone that high to about 12 to 14,000 Ghana cedis. And the general inflation trend in the country.
Yeah.
So it means that all these factors considered, plus 30% rise up in the FOB value, which reflects the duty rate, duty value to be paid. So it's not a too good for us, and the importers will definitely be suffering, and they will be tempted to pass it on to the consumer public, and
yes, Mr.
hit up inflation.
Your final word before
yes. What I would say is that the trading public should try and then understand the reversal policy as it is, so that nobody falls foul of the law. We have to do our work well and make sure that whatever we want to achieve for Ghana comes to fruition by getting revenue to be able to deliver a country.
All right. Thank you very much. That was Mr. Justice Yajayim. He is a supervisor at the Vehicle Valuation Unit of the Customs Technical Services Bureau, and that's at the Customs Headquarters. And also in the studios, Mr. Yao Che, President, Association of Customs House Agents, Ghana, ACHAG. Thank you very much, gentlemen, and Happy New Year. We are grateful that you obliged us. Even though you had to spend time in the house with your families and all that, you decided to oblige us, and we're deeply grateful to you. And we know that as the year ensues, we would have more encounters, to share knowledge and then discuss matters of pertinent issues, matters of pertinent importance to our people. That's the freight forwarding fraternity, the importing fraternity, and all other people who matters in this industry. Viewers, this is how we do the curtain. I will say a big thank you to you for watching. We entreat you to watch the abridged version on Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. on Ghana Television. And we'll say a big thanks to our sponsors, Ghana Revenue Authority, Goil Company Limited, Serene Insurance, Ghana Link Network Services, and indeed Meridian Port Services. Remember, the show is powered by the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. We entreat you to keep watching the rest of our programs here on Metro TV, and we wish you a super week ahead and a very, very happy New Year. Next week, God willing, we shall bounce back with another wonderful edition of Iron Port. Good evening, and have a super fantastic week.